What I'm not okay with is your ridiculous statement from a minute ago. I mean, what is wrong with this country? When let's put a couple of people over here in. Let's put a couple of people. What about putting the best in? I don't see Major League Baseball. I don't see the NFL going, the Chiefs, they've been there too many times. Let's put the Patriots in. I mean, doggy, this is supposed to be about excellence, not about being fair. This is not the little leagues where we give a second, third, fourth, and fifth place trophy.
Hey folks, Dale Jackson here for Yellow Hammer. Now let's talk a little bit about Paul Finebaum and his potential run for United States Senate. And I say potential run for United States Senate. It appears Paul Finebaum is running for United States Senate. I have heard from political prognosticators and others that polling shows him doing pretty well if he does enter this race, and it appears by all signs that after football season, he will in fact be entering the race for United States Senate in Alabama. So I was asked last week by Fox News to weigh in on this potential run for United States Senate. So I did. They wanted me to talk about it, so I said, okay, I'm more than happy to do so. And the story, as you see on the screen here, is ESPN star in the hot seat as Senate campaign rumors swirl, Trump-hating rhino. Now, I don't know about the Trump-hating rhino stuff. That's not really where I'm at on this. I don't know anything about Paul Finebaum. How can I call him a Trump-hating rhino when I know absolutely nothing about him? But if you scroll through the story, they talk about he's a legendary guy. They mention he's 70 years old in the second paragraph of the story. Now, they waited until the fourth paragraph to get to me. And I want to talk a little bit about what I had to say here and what I meant by all of this. Now, Dale Jackson, a prominent Alabama radio politics talk show host, told Fox News Digital that though, quote, Finebaum is a radio legend and a fixture in the South, ... nobody knows what he believes, end quote. That ... is doing a lot of work, okay? A lot of work, because I said a lot of stuff in there about this. So let's talk about what the ... brings to the table. I said the guy is a legend, but I've been doing talk radio and talk radio for almost 20 years in Alabama, and I couldn't tell you what Paul Finebaum knows or believes about anything political. The minute he starts talking about what he believes, it's going to be picked apart, and I don't know if he's necessarily ready for what that means. Now, what I mean by that is, yeah, sports is pretty contentious, and we all know that, and we all see that, but it's a little bit different on the political side of the aisle. People are a little more ravenous. They are a little meaner, and you may not believe that if you've been following sports talk for a while, but that's the truth in all of this. He continues. They talk about his record being mixed, and there's some stuff in here that I didn't even know. So that goes to show you that, again, I didn't see this. In 2016, he said this country is not oppressing black people. Later, he apologized on ESPN, saying his eyes are wide open. In 2017, he remarked that President Donald Trump does behave like a child, which will come up repeatedly in this campaign. He also was happy when Nick Saban encouraged COVID-19 social distancing and masking, as did everyone at the time. I don't know how much you can hold that against him, but if he is going to be running for office, they are going to bring it up. I'm not going to hammer him on that because I was in favor of all of that stuff early on as well, as was anyone who had any sense. He also spoke favorably of Saban's decision to lead a athlete's social media march, in which many, this sounds so stupid, social justice march, which again, equally as stupid, but they wore Black Lives Matter shirts, and Finebaum would go on to talk about how Nick Saban was leading that march in one of his finer moments. Quote, the video was very powerful. There was a lot of blowout back. I had Alabama fans call in and say would never support the team again. Again, he sounds like a social justice warrior in this. And don't think that they're not going to bring that up and make that part of the story. Okay, don't think that's not going to be the issue here. They are going to make it. That's, I guess, where the Trump-hating rhino thing comes in. And when you say Trump-hating rhino, and I know it's a quote from someone else in the story, I get it, but what they're solely talking about, where he said Donald Trump is somewhat immature. And I'll say this, Donald Trump is somewhat immature. Nobody Nobody should believe otherwise. I mean, it's absolutely true. Donald Trump is somewhat immature. I mean, who doesn't believe that? But forget about all of this. And yes, you can go through and you can look at all of Finebaum's comments. You can talk about how Tuberville supports it. But here's what I found interesting about this. If you scroll all the way down past all this stuff, including a great picture of him and Tim Tebow together, you scroll by all these little sponsored stories and stuff like this, by all this, and then wait until you look at what you see in the comments. I want to stop right here and I want to look at these comments for a reason. Every single one, that's not true. Almost every single one of these comments is about his age. Almost every single one of these comments. Check it out. Others have said, and I agree, I would strongly prefer to see someone younger get into the Senate. I realize it's not fair to judge by age, but 40s and 50s seems about right. Plenty of energy and also seasoned experience. Don't need new players in the game at age 70. Yep, and just scroll on down. The 70-year-old ESPN host, best known for his foremost authority on SEC football, has not yet announced an official run. And then this person says, first, 70 years is too old to be considering anything other than retirement. Too many of those in Congress say are well past the age when they should have relinquished power, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And again, this goes on and on and on. First run at 70, seriously? Have Republicans learned nothing from recent election? The party needs to get back to younger candidates for current and future elections. Dude, you're almost 70 years old. This is not the time to start a political career. Tarnish whatever reputation you may have earned in your life. Enjoy your retirement. Find a younger, real Republican to endorse. And you've got all of this going on. I mean, every one of these posts. 70 is too old to run for Senate, especially for the first time. Senators serve a 6-year term. He'd be 71 when his term starts, 77 when the term was over. I mean, again, just look at the age here. He's 70, no political experience. The Republicans should just say no. Again, scroll down further. Just keep going, and it's all the same stuff. I'll say the same thing. I'll say about a Democrat. 70 years is too old to serve in Congress. Next one. First time. Isn't it time for him to retire instead of looking for a new career at 70? Now, and this goes on and on and on, and we can scroll through this if we want to. It's all basically the same thing. 70 is too old, 70 is too old, 70 is too old. Now, I will just say this. I'm going to call BS on a lot of this, okay, because we elect people of this age all the time. Look at the current president of the United States. Look at the last president of the United States. Look at the president of the United States before that. I know two of those are the same guy, but they're well above this age, okay? They're well above this. The guy he's replacing, over 70 years old as well, Tommy Tuberville. The current governor of Alabama is like 612. So you have all of this, and I'm not so sure it's a legitimate argument to make the argument that Paul Finebaum is too old to be in office. I don't even think it's fair to say that Paul Finebaum's a rhino. I don't know enough about him, and I say that all throughout this article. When they quote me, it's basically like, who knows what he actually believes. Once we start hearing it, it's going to be picked apart. It already sort of is. A Trump-hating rhino. They go after his BLM comments, the COVID stuff, calling Trump immature. All that stuff is going to be brought up over and over and over again. Personally, I think the age thing is a little more compelling. I mean, call me a crazy person, but to me, the age issue is actually more interesting than anything else. I'm not going to get upset here and look at this and say, no, we need to have someone of a certain age. I don't care about that. I don't care about term limits either. And I've made this perfectly clear on all of my platforms. Term limits and stuff, no, I'm not interested in that. I'm just not. We have term limits. They're called elections. That's when we have term limits. I don't need anybody to tell me we need to have term limits. It's just not, I just don't believe it. Because the simple fact is we can vote people out whatever we want. And that's what we should do. That's the correct answer. Now, I did find this kind of funny. There was a meme here talking about his age as well. And they said there's no way anyone out there actually enjoys Paul Finebaum. And they have a Simpsons meme where an old man is yelling at a cloud. And that's perfectly fine to say that Finebaum is pretty old. But, and this is, I think, going to be interesting as well. How much does this college football stuff enter into the fray here? I don't know the answer to that question. I don't. Should it at all? I'm not so sure. But it could. And if it does, what's it going to mean? And you can say, well, it shouldn't mean anything, but that's nice and all. But I live in Alabama, and I can tell you right now, it is going to mean something. It will matter a little bit. And I got to tell you, I think he is absolutely playing the game. And I'm not saying he doesn't believe these things, but good Lord, this take that spurred that thing being posted is absolutely right on target. You can't even criticize him for it. It is right on target. Go look at it. In fact, I'll even play it for you right here. If you take a look at this quote that has kind of got that person saying, oh, he's yelling at a cloud, I can tell you where that person came from. Big Ten country. I don't think there's any question where that person came from. Big Ten country. Because what's he saying? He's saying, hey, we need to not allow a bunch of these other garbage conferences to have games or teams in the playoffs. We could have 6 teams from the SEC and it'd be so much better.
Are you okay, Paulie, with a 3-loss team in the tournament?
Texas.
If it's Texas?
I'm not
okay with that, Paul?
Give me a break.
Yeah. I am okay with that, Dougie. What I'm not okay with is your ridiculous statement from a minute ago. I mean, what is wrong with this country? When let's put a couple of people over here in. Let's put a couple of people. What about putting the best in? I don't see Major League Baseball. I don't see the NFL going, the Chiefs, they've been there too many times. Let's put the Patriots in. I mean, Dougie, this is supposed to be about excellence, not about being fair. This is not the little leagues where we give a 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th place trophy. This should be the best. It's already a convoluted system because we let the group of whatever in, the group of 5 with South Florida, and they have no business. That conference, that division really has no business playing. That's like letting the AAA best team in to the Major League playoffs.
He's absolutely right. There's no way to argue it. He's absolutely right. He has nailed this, and he's sort of doing this American exceptionalism thing as well. So it sounds like maybe he's getting ready to run for office, and this is just sort of short-circuiting any criticism from maybe some folks in Alabama that he's not in love with the whole SEC and he's just in love with the University of Alabama. But he also believes in exceptionalism, therefore American exceptionalism, therefore America first, therefore he loves Donald Trump. Boom, there we go. We twist it all together. In truth, though, Paul Finebaum is going to have a little bit of an uphill battle because the things we do know that he said politically are not going to fit neatly in the Republican conservative box. And where does he stand on all the other things that people are going to want to know about? Where does he stand on taxation? Where does he stand on immigration? Where does he stand on trade? Where is he on ICE? Does he support that? I don't know. So it'd be pretty interesting to see people bringing all of this up in this campaign. Is Paul Finebaum too old to run for office? No, he's not too old to run for office. Would I prefer someone younger? Yes, I would prefer someone younger and Paul Finebaum stay exactly where he is as a radio legend across the state of Alabama, ESPN, the SEC network, and the entire country. But if he wants to run, he is going to be a formidable force in that race. The question is, what happens when those opinions that he has said before come out, and how will he navigate making new opinions known when he is going to get lambasted by all sides when he finally starts doing it?